From awards in France to beer baths in Iceland, the craft beer revolution is in motion. Discover the world through beer. Welcome to World Beer News. This week's World Beer News will go to North Korea, where for the first time ever, locals have been allowed to imitate a 1950s German beer festival. Australians have found a way to use Vegemite to make the cheapest beer possible, while a brewery in Texas has raised a record-breaking amount through crowdfunding. And we'll also take a look at how hop production has affected 3 very different parts of the world. All that coming up, but first, you know how wonky us beer folks can be. 40 Feet Brewery has swabbed the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory writer's chair, blanket, and old pencils to collect yeast to make, what else? Beer. Mr. Twit's Odious Ale has been brewed using yeast swabbed from the personal belongings of Roald Dahl. The beer will be featured on the menu of London's dinner at the Twits, a new interactive theatrical dining experience taking place at Waterloo's The Vaults. They'll be offering guests a host of disgusting cocktails and canapes, including a rather odious bespoke beer. French microbrewery FrogBeer, owned and operated by the pub group Frog Pubs out of Paris, France. Cette semaine, this week, they proudly announced 6 new medals for their growing range of beers awarded by the International Beer Challenge. So congratulations to them. And if you're feeling like a winner, the North American Guild of Beer Writers has announced its 4th annual awards for writers, bloggers, broadcasters, and authors. So submit your work to the contest by this Monday, August 22nd. That's your deadline. If you get your work in, you might win. If you're into that. Should I submit this? I think I will. Microbrewery, this word, in whatever that word is, a village in north of Iceland is planning to open a beer spa in the region with a view of this island. In February of next year, guests will be invited to bathe in a mixture of beer, water, hops, and yeast, not unlike the popular beer baths in Prague. Despite the small size of the country and lack of a traditional beer drinking culture, BalkanInsight.com suggests that Bosnia may be your next craft beer destination vacation. They have a lot of small breweries. They're flourishing all through the country. Maybe you want to go there. Heineken USA brings Red Stripe production back to Jamaica. It makes you wonder where it was in the first place. Following Heineken's acquisition of Diageo's controlling stake of Red Stripe in October 2015, a move towards production of Red Stripe beer from North America to Jamaica. It's also been in and out brewed in the UK. The first shipments of Red Stripe will head for the US on September 1st, with cases expected to hit retail shelves in November 2016. So now they can once again say that the beer is brewed in Jamaica, and we can neurotically check beer labeling dates. Like, can I cellar this? How far away is Jamaica from here? With new government investment and explosive industry demand, Canadians are looking to cash in on the beer brewing craze, saying at the end of the day, if I didn't think the financial metrics were there, I wouldn't be doing it. Craft brewers in the northern continent of America cannot get enough. But over in India, hop farms are failing. Introduced in 1997 and adopted by hundreds of farmers of Lahul Valley of Himachal Pradesh, hops have vanished entirely at this point, as the government, farmers say, failed to obtain a reasonable price for the crops. Sources at the timesofindia.com say farmers of Lahul produced 131 tons of hops in 1994, but now countries like USA and China are selling their hybrid hops for cheaper prices, while the Indian state itself failed in helping the farmers to market its 100% organic hops. So farmers are now forced to shift to vegetable production. It's a sticky mouthfeel beer. Chuvashia, Russia is one of the world's oldest beer-making cities, where hops have been harvested since time immemorial and beer traditionally worshipped as a drink of the gods. It still is in places like my house. you know. By the late 1980s, locals in Czechoslovakia were producing almost 95% of all hops used in the Soviet beer industry. Hops were proclaimed as Czechoslovakia's green gold. There were so many of them that kids in the city eagerly consumed hop-flavored ice cream, and their parents were treated to delicious hop-infused soaps. So much so that the Soviets created a hop research institute in the city, and one of their signature products, a particularly flavorsome breed called Serbinaka, would inspire scientists at the University of Oregon to breed Cascade, a citrus-flavored sort of hop that has now become the most widely used hop amongst craft brewers. But come the 1990s, this once happy pagan hop town is now calling on a younger generation to come visit the hop farm and help them capitalize on the brewing world's lust for aromatic hops and the downfall of their production. So, for more on everything covered here, go ahead and check out my sources below. They're really important to me. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you have anything to say at all, or, just like a smiley face and a thumbs up, so that, people know that they should watch this. Or you can just share it. Brewing Vegemite Beer for science. Vegemite, if you don't know what it is, it's like a yeasty byproduct when you make beer, and Australians put it on bread and butter. There's also Marmite is the other one I think they use in the UK. Anyway, it's being used as a yeast source. Indigenous Australian communities where alcohol is banned have been using it to do homebrewing, as well as prisoners. Researchers brewed Vegemite beer to understand the process, creating a product that looked like ginger beer, was safe to drink, and was bland, but it had a Vegemite aftertaste, so if you know that, that's great. The beer basically could be made way cheaper than any other readily available product. I think the number was like a normal beer goes for like $160 production, retail, homebrew is like, 20 cents, and if you're making your beer with Vegemite, it's like 9 cents a bottle. Ooh, buddy. Congratulate this guy, huh? Hops and Grain, a craft brewery based in Austin, Texas, has raised $1 million on WeFunder.com, the maximum amount they're able to raise under the regulation CF. The new operation, which includes a tap room and a brewery, is expected to be 100% powered by wind, energy, and open whenever it is that they want. And now, let's step into the past for this week's headlining story, North Korea. Always doing fun stuff there. Visitors thanked the leadership for allowing them to drink lager. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un threatened the United States with nuclear war. On Friday, the communist country's capital of Pyongyang played host to its first ever beer festival, which saw 800 attendees turn up to join the festival. It lasted about 20 days, and it was organized to promote Pyongyang's home-brewed beer, Tianjungang. During the opening ceremony, 500 guests got to enjoy the lager on the house, freebies, because North Korea can afford that, while snacking on fried chicken and being serenaded by this fantastic, lovely music of propaganda. What does this national beer taste like? You would like to know, wouldn't we all? The New York Times posted an article in 2008 describing the beer as a full-bodied lager with a little bit of a sweet twinge to it and a slightly bitter aftertaste. The beer is currently available only in North Korea and a little bit in China. That's all from me, folks, but if you want to live to be 103, take a note from Mildred Bowers out of South Carolina at the age of 103. She's got great skin. The resident says at 4 o'clock, the cold one that she has at her assisted living facility is a crucial part of her daily routine. So, cheers to that. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any content or news that you get, please message me directly at nitch@tastingnitch.com, and I'll see you next week. Or hey, you know what? Here's one. You should just play it on repeat. Play all the World Beer News YouTube things on repeat when your friends come over. It's a good idea. It is. Don't listen to me.